I'm ready to do this. Let's finish the vacation. As you all know, I've really enjoyed sharing this stuff because I have found that a huge benefit is that it is not in my head anymore once I do it. And I'm super looking forward to this doing the same thing. It's Thursday on vacation. We had the Wednesday night debacle that I just talked about. I can't remember what the prescribed Thursday plans were, but we spent the day at the beach. We let all of his family members know that we would be at the beach so that they could join us if they wanted to. Thursday night, they all wanted to meet at the boardwalk. If you haven't been to Wildwood, which I never had, at the boardwalk, there's like 3 piers, and on these piers are tons of shops, food, and even amusement park rides. We show up at the boardwalk at the pier that everybody wants us to be at. We smile, we hang out. I go on some rides with my older nephew and niece who want an adult who will go on some crazy rides with them. I love crazy amusement park rides. We're smiling, we're talking. At one point, my mother-in-law says again, because this is how she rolls, it's really important that tomorrow, Friday night, after men's restaurant, you come back to our VRBO and walk to the beach to do the fireworks with us and then have niece's 3rd birthday party. I wanted to bring up the text so bad from middle sister-in-law. So bad. But the moment just, I don't know, there was something about it that didn't feel right. Just not a voice in my head necessarily, but it just didn't feel right. I swallowed that moment hard. She said it when we were kind of like doing that parent thing where you're gathered around watching the kids all ride something. We're leaning against the fence, like looking at them. And my husband was standing between her and I think he just said what we've said all along, like 4 times at this point. No, we want to pack and we want to get to bed early because we have a huge drive ahead of us the next day. I can't remember what she said, if she just went silent or retorted. I can't remember that part. Probably goes without saying that as I'm talking and, just doing the cordial things with everyone else, I'm not even looking at middle sister-in-law or her pawn husband. We do the Thursday evening things. Thursday ends. We all go home from the boardwalk to our respective places. Friday morning and early afternoon, it's just the husband, my daughters. I think we went to the beach again. It's finally time to go to Men's Restaurant. Again, it's MENZ, Men's Restaurant, and it's in a location we have to drive to. It's a restaurant that has like weird stuffed animals, like a 2-headed deer or something like that, and just like trinkets and an arcade and a restaurant. We get to the restaurant, taking a deep breath. So the largest room at this restaurant has been reserved for us and our party. The first thing we do when we get there is we walk around and look at all the sights, all these weird stuffed taxidermied animals. My daughters do a couple rounds on the Pac-Man machine. I did too, let's be honest. We look at the trinkety things in the gift shop or whatever it is. Finally, it's time to go and eat with these people on the last night of vacation. I quick do the thing where I'm like, we're about to go sit down, girls, to my daughters. Should we go to the bathroom quick? Yep, they want to go to the bathroom. So I take them quick to the restroom. And the reason that matters is because by the time we went to the restroom, we went to the banquet room that was reserved for us. And as we walk in, the way that the table is set up, so it's one huge long table. And at one end is my father-in-law's brother and sister, her boyfriend, sitting across the table from middle sister-in-law and her family. At the other end of the table is oldest sister-in-law and her kids. And the only open spots are for us sitting directly across from my mother-in-law. And my husband and I even remarked later, why would you choose to put us at that part? Why would you tell me, Bethany, to sit directly across from my mother-in-law? Who thought that would be a good idea? Put me next to the kids. Put me next to my father-in-law's brother. Put me next to my father-in-law's sister. But right? Sisters on both sides and directly across from my mother-in-law. We have spent so stinking much on this trip that we don't even really have an appetite. And this food is really expensive. Like even for chicken strips, it's like really expensive. I didn't order anything because I had no appetite. I figured I would just eat the appetizer bread rolls and that my daughters, as usual, wouldn't eat their food and I would just kind of finish off the plates of them and my husband. It's not something I normally do. I just didn't have an appetite. These weird details will matter later, so bear with me, but everyone around us is essentially doing what you should at a seafood restaurant, ordering the bacon wrapped scallops and the other delicacies that are on the menu that are really expensive. My husband and I don't even end up ordering any beverages, like no alcohol, not even like juice or soda, just to save some damn. Sorry if it's boring, these details are important for me. So I feel like my mother-in-law just wants to be low-level combative with me at the table. And I'll give a few examples. As you guys know, I didn't know the term enmeshment before I started therapy. I have an enmeshed family structure on both sides, my in-laws and my origin family. As part of the people-pleasing and the enmeshed situation, we have given vacations to both of our families each summer. I'm getting an eye twitch. I must be anxious. It leaves no time for my little family of 4 to ever have a vacation. Whereas my husband is a school teacher and has the entire summer off, I work a corporate pharmacy job and I don't have the entire summer off. So it leaves me feeling very exhausted. As part of my journey to overcome my bitterness and resentment towards family members and their expectations, something we had said earlier in 2021 to both of our families is that we were done with the expectation of family vacations both sides. Instead, we would remain somewhat enmeshed and allow our families the right of still having us each summer, so every other summer, essentially. So this summer was the Wildwood family in-law vacation, and we were going to do something next summer with my origin family and just flip-flop each summer from now on. Now that I know what I know about enmeshment and I know about our families, P.S., that's totally over. But at the point of this Wildwood sitting at the table at Men's Restaurant across from my mother-in-law, it's only something that has been said to her in the last couple months before this. So a low-level combative thing that I thought she decided to bring up was, she says, "So did you vacation with your family this summer, Bethy?" Bethy? And I say, no, I didn't vacation with my family this summer. As you know, and as we've discussed with you, we are no longer doing 2 family vacations, one with you, one with my family every single summer. Since we're here in Wildwood, no, I didn't vacation with my family, my origin family this summer. We will be doing something next summer with my origin family, which we now aren't doing, and won't be seeing you guys. And she goes, oh, well, that won't work because Uncle, the brother that she still speaks to, not the estranged one, really wants us at his cabin. He's just been asking me over and over, really wants to, it's very, very important to Uncle, brother that I still talk to, that we all come and do a family trip this summer. Sorry, next summer. And without even hesitating, she leans to the side to where middle sister-in-law's husband is and goes, how does that sound to you? And being the pawn he is, he goes, yeah, sounds great. Just let us know the dates. Which is a whole lot of baloney because middle sister-in-law and her husband have skated free of vacations until this Wildwood one. Low-level combative. The next low-level combative, because why would you ask anyone this, is I about fall backwards in my chair when she says, so how much are you guys spending on vacation? Like what? The last time someone asked me a question this uncomfortable was when my brother-in-law, the husband of my oldest sister-in-law, asked me what my annual salary is. He's asked me that like 3 times in the last 8 years. Who does that? And I can't remember the exact responses, but my husband and I were pretty much like, a whole lot this vacation is costing us. And she says something along the lines of, well, that's because you have a condo. It's cheaper if you get a house, a VRBO house like we did. And I said, no, I bet our condo costs the same as your VRBO house. The trick is not having someone back out on staying with you. I said it so calmly. Just, oh, I absolutely slayed with that one. It felt so good. I mean, because middle sister-in-law and her husband are right there because they put them right next to me. You can hear a pin drop just for a moment. So as usual, she has a shopping bag under the table and has dollar store trinkets. Again, just beaded necklaces and I don't know, just junk. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is because fellow commenters have said what's with narcissists and all the dollar store crap. So I otherwise wouldn't have mentioned that. Dinner ends. We're all still at the table. I can't remember why I stepped away. I think to do more arcade games with my daughters briefly. So this next part is from my husband. He said that the bill came. Middle sister-in-law's husband goes, well, the easiest thing to do here is to just divide the amount by the number of adults at the table. My husband said he fought the overwhelming people-pleasing urge to just take that and deal with it and pay that portion. But he said he spoke up and said, yeah, that's not going to happen. My family, none of us drank alcoholic beverages. None of us even had any sort of beverage, and none of us ordered seafood. So we will be paying our amount. Go Matt. I finish whatever Pac-Man level I'm working on, and I go back into the banquet hall. At this point, some people are looking at the taxidermy animals again, some people are, but at the table is still the brother and sister of my father-in-law. My mother-in-law is still there. Yeah. But people are kind of, like getting ready to go. So mother-in-law, again, of course, launches into, so you're coming to fireworks and the birthday party, right? And Matt says, no, we're going home to pack so that we can get on the road at a good time in the morning. She starts to launch into all of her excuses as usual, and I cut her off. This is the moment. Mother-in-law, even if we wanted to come, middle sister-in-law, I got cut off, so let's enjoy that again. So when she was starting to go into her excuses, I said, mother-in-law, even if we hadn't given you these reasons for why we're not coming, middle sister-in-law told us that she uninvited us. She told us she doesn't want us there. And the mask falls. She's immediately like, what? I go, yeah, she texted Matt on Wednesday night and told us that she doesn't want us there. She would never do that. She's very quickly getting up from the table, standing up, getting out from behind the table. I said, yeah, she did. Matt, do you can see the text in her phone. She doesn't even look back over her shoulder. She is headed out the door because middle sister-in-law and her middle sister-in-law's husband are not in the room at this point. They're either taxidermy animals, arcade, I don't know. So she yells over her shoulder, I don't believe you, and keeps walking. And it's like, well, have fun going to confront your daughter and her telling you that, yeah, she did in fact say that. Obviously, she's already walking away from me. She didn't hear that. Matt's like, let's go now. We've paid at this point. We quick hug the brother of the father-in-law, the sister of the father-in-law, and the boyfriend, who have massive eyes. We beeline for the front of the restaurant. As we are walking down the steps of the restaurant into the parking lot, off to our right, we can see mother-in-law launching into it with middle sister-in-law in front of her kids. Middle sister-in-law is holding her kids, and mother-in-law doesn't care about confrontations in front of children. We're not running, but we're moving. We're moving to our vehicle, holding the hands of our daughters. We've parked a pretty far way across the parking lot because there was a tree that we wanted to park under for heat, blah, blah, blah. That will matter in a moment. We reach the vehicle. Both husband and I open the respective car doors for our daughters. We start loading them into the car seats. My husband across from me goes, fuck, get her in her car seat, close the door. I know why, because immediately in my peripheral, I see mother-in-law floating across the parking lot. She's coming towards us so quickly. And the reason how far we were parked away matters is because she's usually a very, very slow-moving, decrepit individual. We tell the girls, stay in the car. Slam the car doors. Mother-in-law is coming up on my side of the vehicle the fastest. I start to try to move away from my vehicle because I don't want to hear my daughters again witness a confrontation between my mother-in-law and I. I don't know how she's moving so fast. I can't even get to the back of my vehicle before she's bam in my face. That's not what she said. That's not what she said to you guys. I was like, yeah, it is. It's my husband who's coming around the front of the vehicle to my side. He can show you the text. I don't care to see the text. That's not what she's meant. That's not what she meant. You took it the wrong way. You haven't talked to anyone this whole trip. That's all she meant. She doesn't want someone. My husband goes, Mom, even if sister hadn't said that to me, we told you a whole bunch of times that it didn't work for us, this party. Immediately, she's crying without tears about how important it is, and this is just everything fell into this moment, and she's been planning it, and she has gifts for everyone, and she's just melting. And I look at my husband to see if this is affecting him, because I'm apparently Satan, because none of this isn't even, there's no tug on any heartstring in my non-feeling heart. And thank goodness he has the same sort of like dead face that I have. And I kind of cut her off at some point and I go, can we just please, we can keep discussing. Can we move away from the vehicle? Like my mama bear I'm just losing it. I'm so sick of my children experiencing these confrontations. Can we move away from the vehicle? I should back up. I wasn't that loud. I'm getting loud for you guys. I'm so sick of confrontations. I'm so sick of my daughters seeing this stuff. And so I was like, can we move away from the vehicle? I would like to move away from the vehicle, please. And right then, the husband of oldest sister-in-law appears miraculously at the back of the vehicle. And I go, I'm just trying to move away from the vehicle. And he goes, she's calm. My husband said later that was his first real moment of feeling gaslighting in his own life, because he said, you look at this woman who's losing it against our vehicle and someone is telling you that she's calm, and you literally feel your brain struggling to accept that moment. Welcome to my life. Welcome to my life for the last 16 years. Deep breath. I probably look at both of them in disbelief, like, she's calm? She's losing it against my vehicle. I go, I just want to move away from the vehicle. I want to move away from the vehicle so that my daughters don't have to hear this. She grabs my hand, forces it down to my side, and says, oh, now you're going to hold on to this too? You're going to hold on to this too now. You're just going to always hold this against me. I rip my hand out of her grip. My brother-in-law goes, she's calm. She just wants to talk. And I turn on him and I said, you've never sat at a kitchen table for 3 hours while all of your in-laws gang up on you, while you are swore at, yelled at in front of your children. You have never been confronted in your backyard, swore at in front of your children. Back the fuck off. I just spat a little bit. Matt goes, step away. We're leaving. She's still, Maddie, do something, she says. He goes, Bethany, get in the car. He walks around the front of the vehicle. She stands in front of my door. I push her to the side. Rob goes, oops, that's his. Thank you for your patience. My daughters get home from school with my school teacher husband at like 3:55, and therapy on Friday is at 4 for my daughter. My husband walks around the front of the vehicle to get into the car and again says, Bethany, get into the vehicle. My brother-in-law goes, she just wants to talk. I don't know what my mother-in-law is saying at this point. I can't remember. As I open my car door and get in, my brother-in-law and my mother-in-law finally retreat from the vehicle as my mother-in-law is saying something like, I can't believe this. We drive away in silence because how do you process that? My daughters are saying things like, why is grandma crying? What's wrong with grandma? I don't know. I can't remember. My daughters are now triggering me with, we don't talk about Bruno. What are the odds? Let's just listen for a moment. Anyway, because the therapist totally wants to hear Encanto right now. We stopped by their VRBO on our way back to our condo to drop off the birthday present for the 3-year-old that we had brought along with us. Fireworks end up being canceled that night because it rained. The next day we get this email. Hi, Son and Bethy. I'm sitting at the airport 7 hours early, but I have time to write to you. I am so incredibly sorry about the way the evening shattered apart last night. I had no idea that the text between middle sister and you had even taken place until you mentioned it. Again, though, that's not the issue. The issue is that we'd said no. I was horrified, saddened, and completely blindsided at that moment. I felt brokenhearted because I'd been carefully and lovingly planning for that fun finale and opportunity for all of us to celebrate the great week together. That wording almost exactly mirrors the email that she sent to me after the kitchen table confrontation. I never really talked about that in detail because I was new to TikTok and I didn't know how to tell the story. But it's pretty much, I'll maybe back up to some parts that I skipped. She was horrified, saddened, and blindsided. That's why she yelled at me for 3 hours at a kitchen table. You were greatly missed by all of us, especially Gabby and Sophie, missed by the cousins. I'll catch up with them when the opportunity presents itself. Oh, no, you won't. Your gift for the blah, blah, blah was totally the hit of the night and delighted us all. I bet. Thank you for your insight and generosity. Please drive safely now. Know that you are loved and so cared about. The gaslighting is just, it is mind-boggling. I mean, I see through it now, but I'm saying at these points, I look so forward to hearing when you arrive back into Zeke, our dog. Enthusiastic embrace and licks. He'll be so happy to see you. He might even talk to you like our past dog, Lily. Love, Mom, Grandma. There it is. I did it. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe I did it. We talked. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. There's one more bad thing, and we'll do that another day. Hello, my friends. Oh my lord, I am exhausted. I did 2 social events this weekend, both of which I considered at least 50 times backing out on with various excuses. At yesterday's social event, I was told by a so-called friend that the bags under my eyes are intense. Like, thanks, as if I didn't know that. In my head, I could hear that TikTok trend of, thank you for that, it was extremely unhelpful, but thank you nonetheless. For those of you who are new here, I'm no contact at this point. I'm just telling a story of stuff that actually happened to me. My videos are chronological for the most part, with some interlude type things in the mix. If you want the story from the beginning, go back all the way to the end of my posts to where it looks like my soul is dying in my eyeballs. A couple people saying I touch my hair a lot. I probably do. It's, as I tell traumatic stories, it's probably a soothing mechanism. I'm also insecure, and again, see soothing mechanism. Also had a lot of comments about this thing around my neck. It was gray in my last posts. It's called a cowl. It keeps my neck warm. I'm cold all the time in my heart and my soul, and as an actual physical sensation of living in Minnesota with bad windows. Matt did therapy on Friday. Kind of. He did the thing where you call, you find out how ridiculously much they'll charge you, and when it works for them to actually talk to you. Hasn't technically had an intake, but apparently that's this week on Friday, maybe. Speaking of therapy, my trauma-informed therapist is on Mondays, and I'm going to tell him that I no longer hate him for telling me to forgive my family, because as you all pointed out, and are probably correct, he meant forgiveness as in accepting it happened and moving on. I don't really care about this, but I'll still address it. Maybe that means I still care about it. I had a fair amount of people in the influx of those videos that I had, and then a bunch influx of new followers. I had a lot of, you're not perfect, you seem difficult. I know I am. Find me one video in all of my content where I said I'm perfect or easy to be around, and I'll find you 120 where I've conveyed that I'm a difficult weirdo. Finally, the next part of the story did not happen to me. It happened to my husband. I've asked him if he'd be willing to come on and share it. No. I asked if I could interview him on camera. No. I asked him if I could tell it, and then he'd give me the thumbs up from the side. Wasn't really feeling that either. But he doesn't mind if I share it, so I'm going to sit down with him. I'm going to write down the details that I know, that I remember from what he told me, and then I kind of want to, again, do narrative with him and then tell it to you guys. I can kind of set the stage for it, though. We didn't respond to mother-in-law's gaslighting email. 1 week later, I drove to Iowa to see my origin family with my daughter. Husband stayed home to do an electrical project in the backyard. Mother-in-law showed up unannounced, uninvited. You guys, we're finishing the story today. The story of how I ended up no contact with my narcissistic in-laws. After this, I'll probably move on to my marriage, my childhood. I don't know, really anything else that I feel like I need to get off my chest, because this TikToking has been amazing for me. I just got back from my dog walk. Give me a few moments and I'll launch into the rest of it, the narc abuse story. I'd like to quick thank Jules N. I wanted to thank you personally, but I couldn't find anyone by that exact username in my followers. Thank you for the Venmo gift. Really, really appreciate it. I have zero expectation that anyone Venmo me. Sharing this with you and your support is beyond words with how priceless it is to me. Nonetheless, I had put my Venmo in my bio a while back because, as you can likely imagine, the amount of therapy that my family and I are going through at this point is nearing our mortgage payment.